Okay, so we will start with the from where we introduced yesterday, which is uh, we have discussed what a project is and critical parts or stages that needs to be known, which is unique about any kind of project in general. Then we discussed that where in a structure of in a office organization, where does the project manager fits, or what is his general responsibility, that with whom does he needs to coordinate to work. After that we discussed that he has to a project manager has to overall take a good control of the cost, the quality and the time kept behind a project. So with this, now let's consider that if an architect or a architectural project manager has to have a work who is not a project architect but just a project manager, and he has to interact with the consultant, which is the client, the project architect and the contractors, then what his duties and responsibilities should be. Okay, so there here we will have some definition or some terminology specifically, whose definition, if it is not given in here, we will note those and we will discuss those in the next stage, subsequent stages, when we will be discussing it in detail. So in the duties of project manager, uh, the first one says that preparation of project report, including time schedules, manpower requirement, and statutory clearances. So this particular checklist of the duties of project managers are particularly for architectural consultancy project. This is not general. This is not a general project manager, but duties of a project manager when he works with the project architect, consultants, clients, and contractors. So first is he prepares a project report where he includes the exact time schedule. So remember this time schedule, we will have to discuss this time schedule later. Then according to the time schedule, the manpower requirement and the statutory clearances, that for which part of the work, from where do you need a clearance. Okay, next is prepare a part or CPM network. So that is, you know the schedule. Now each and every schedule, the time schedule and the work, when they are combined with each other, that for this much work this much time is required, and the interlink of the work which forms the network is prepared by him. It is a kind of flowchart through which he supervises the works while it gets executed. Next is he might have to prepare the tenders and the contract documents and monitoring all the stages of construction also. So now since those two chapters, tenders and contracts, are already done, you can now have an idea that okay, if not the chief architect, maybe the project manager helps in the preparation of the tender and contract also. Next is liaison with consultants and specialized agencies. So that means depending on the work, if he has to tie up with any other consultants for the betterment of the works, then he can uh, like he will be the person who is going to communicate with those consultants, with those agencies, and in turn are going to interact with the architect or the client who has employed him. So that interaction or communication with several consultants has to be done by the project manager. Scheduling of meeting in offices as well as at site. Okay, nothing to explain in that. Ensuring client or architect or consultant's approval at important stages. So here what he does is, every stage of work should be approved by the authority who has recruited him or who has employed him. So it may be the particularly the client or the architect who has been given the responsibility to take the decisions on behalf of the client. They will they needs to give approval, and this approval are to be collected from those people by the project manager before every stage of work. Monitoring actual progress in terms of time and money as against tendered cost and targeted time schedule. So this is like there was a tender cost according to a particular schedule, which some of you will prepare that after what stage, how much money you are supposed to receive as a consultancy fee, whether the actual cost that is getting incurred is in parity with that particular estimated cost and the timeline of the work and cost, that has to be monitored. Next is resolve conflicts between various agencies and suggest corrective measures. So basically what we are saying is he can be an arbitrator or conciliator in certain alternative dispute resolution. Next is check correct dimension to receive finished item of work. Ensure critical provisions such as double bars, cutouts, sleeves, etc. in RCC work. Record, okay, these are broad things. What he basically does is he does exact measurement of the work done, so that the bill which is produced by the contractor can be checked with this exact measurement, that what was promised in the tender, whether that exactly has been provided by the contractor or not. So he does a exact check of that before releasing the bill. Next, 10th is maintain record of changes in drawing and deviations in construction. So if there is any on-spot instruction, proper instruction by the client, that there is a drawing change or design change, or during the construction a small deviation was done, so there has to be a date wise record with proper approvals and signed definitely of those particular thing, which has to be taken, which has to be recorded by the project manager. The 11th one says checking everything carefully before occupation and following up after possession. So before giving the occupation, you have to check everything carefully, that what was promised, whether those has been given or not. So what basically he does in a small architectural project is, you have the completion certificate and the completion drawing. So you match the completion drawing with the building which is executed or which has been executed. Okay. So that's the duties of a project manager in an architectural consultancy or a construction project. But that's not all. There may be, depending on the situation that arises during the construction, there may be many other decisions that needs to be taken by the project manager. If he himself cannot take, he might take it to the concerned authorities, say the architects, the clients, it can be taken, or to the contractor if required. So he is a middleman who neither not only executes, he doesn't execute at all, but he helps in the execution with proper track records, record of all the tracks that is getting executed. Okay. Now, in an architectural office, when you will go to an office for your internships or even later, you will see that the architectural office will need the help of a project manager. Now, depending on the scale of the project or the size of the office or the total number of manpower or the scale of the office, there can be two different ways in which a project manager can manage a project. So the first one is, in the architectural office itself, there can be a project manager who is a staff of that particular office. So who can easily coordinate with multiple projects running in the same office. But it may happen that if it is a small project, it is okay. But if it is a big project, he has to tackle so many things that he sometimes gets lost. So if he is able to tackle the small scale project properly, it is advantageous for the project. If he can tackle bigger project, if he can manage bigger project being in the office itself, still it is advantageous. But mostly it happens that where you need specialized or expert decisions in management, there the in-house architect, in-house project manager of the architect's office sometimes falls short. So there what we do is we hire a specialized management agency. Okay, because they work very professionally, they work in a team. So in case of a complex project or in a project where it has to be done within the management has to be done within a particular time, there you are supposed to hire a specialized project management agency or project manager. But the disadvantage of that is, suppose on a particular date and time you need his suggestion immediately, but he or she may not be available, or that external agency, the representative of the external agency may not be available in the time when you require his help. So both of them has their own advantages and disadvantages. Okay, am I clear till now? These two subheadings. One is duties of project manager, and another is methods of project management. Am I clear till now? The two subheadings that has been discussed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. Now embrace yourself for imagining a project that is getting executed, a construction project that is getting executed. So what are the different stages in which a project manager will be involved if he has to be involved in all possible stages in that construction project? Okay. So here comes stages of project management. So if I say broadly that in which stages you may need the help of a project manager, broadly it is like either he can work before the execution of the work, before the start of construction, which is commonly known as the planning stage, or he may be or we may need the help of the project manager during the execution stage, so when it is getting built, or even during the completion and the possession stage. So even we know that by now we know that there is something known as a defect liability period. So there, who is going to oversee the defect rectification or not? During the construction, there was a temporary water supply. So after the handover, whether permanent water supply has been restored or not. Then releasing the actual certificate of payment. That means whatever pending payments or whatever payment were intermediately done, a certificate of those intermediate payments are finally issued. So that is done after the handover only. So in all the three stages, before construction, during construction or execution, and even after construction or after completion, which is the possession stage, then help of the project manager might be needed. So let's find out that what are the different stages, starting from the beginning. So in the planning stage, the works that a project manager might do, or the stages of project management, like you may need the help of a manager, you may not need, but overall, what are the things which needs to be managed? That means the jobs are going to be executed properly. Now this properly executing the job is something which I mean by the term management. So first is scheduling of different stages of designing. So in your office, when you go to your office, you need to have a plan that in which stage which part has to be designed first, whether it is the preliminary design without the detailing, and then rectification on that, and then detailing में working drawing पहले करना है कि interior toilets वगैरह सब पहले करना है, then assigning material. So what is the schedule of the different stages of designing that is first planned. Now if you have a well established office, they have a stereotype table of this designing schedule. So accordingly they employ or they deploy existing staff in those particular dates for those particular design, for those particular stages of design. Okay. Next is presentation to client if it is a private project, or the competition jury if it is a architectural competition. Next is obtaining statutory approvals for its execution. Preparation of production drawing. Production drawing is something like that helps in the working drawing. It is a kind of working drawing only. It has got several different market names. Next is preparation of estimate and tender document on the basis of the along with statutory approvals on the basis of those production drawing. So you are supposed to prepare an estimate at this point of time when basic drawing including the specification of the different materials are mentioned. Next is calling of tender and preparing tender analysis. Recommendation to the client about selection of contractor. So recommendation of client about selection of contractor, that on the basis of the analysis of the tender, who are the contractor, which and from which date to which date they should be contracted for execution of the work. So this happens before the work starts. Next is the execution stage, where you actually select the contractor, including release of the letter of intent and issue of work orders. So issue of work order is actually multiple contracts that you are handing over to the contractor. So when you are issuing those, if the contractor accepts those contract, then the agreement is being signed. So the third stage of project, in the second stage, the third job is signing of contracts and obtaining security deposits. So whoever signs the contract actually submits a security deposit in the form of a performance bond. Next is preparation of activity chart. Now this activity chart can be, for simple work, it can be a simple bar chart. You know what a bar chart is?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
They are basically horizontal chart where each and every activity is assigned a time, cost. So those are just matched, but in small project. But if we have read in the last class that if there is an interdependency of projects, then segregated bar charts fall short. So we have several specialized bar charts. Say a Gantt chart, GANTT. Gantt chart is one of the charts which we will be reading. So whatever activity has to be done, it has the network or the actual activity or the transition from one activity to the other activity, they have to be graphically plotted. Because actually, reading the word, the Excel file becomes sometimes difficult. So if you plot it graphically, it is easier to maintain. So you have to prepare that. Next is approval of samples and shop drawings. So for the different building materials that you will be using, you have the shop drawing. I don't know whether I have discussed with you or not. What do you know what a shop drawing is? Can anyone say what is meant by a shop drawing?
You have said it, sir. Like according to the shop, वहाँ पे जो भी मिल रहा है. If I'm going to get 6 diameter bar over there, so according to that we need to draw the design, like draw the drawings.
Yes, yes, excellent, excellent, good. So whatever materials with whichever specification is available in the shop, that has to be acquired, so that on the basis of those available material, if you need to do lot small modifications in your design or the specification, that you have to do it right now before actually starting of the work. So starting of the work means there will be a lot of people working, and building construction, though we ignore most of the time, we do not mention it, but it requires huge amount of water. Construction comes with water. So we have to arrange for temporary water connection as well as electrical connection as and when required. Next is arranging site meetings. So in the site, will you have a meeting place, or on which dates, after which phases there will be a site meeting, who all are the people who needs to be involved, and then after the meeting is done, prepare the minutes of the meeting and accordingly write the memos. Ki on this particular date, as far as that particular meeting, this next works order is being issued. Okay. Next is giving instruction and sending copies to architect and client. So whatever instruction the project manager gives at site is done in writing, in addition to any verbal instructions, and a copy of those instructions which were given at site are sent to the client and the architect. Next is carry out day-to-day supervision and submitting daily or weekly report. So you know that if that is a work, or which is a stage of the project management, then definitely there is a person who can be who can be asked to do this particular work, which is carrying out day-to-day supervision and submitting the daily or weekly reports. So can anyone say who is that person? Who is the yes, please?
Clerk of work.
Yes, a clerk of work. Okay, nice to find that you all remember the term. So a clerk of work has to be deployed for that. Next is recording measurement, assisting architect in issue of interim. Interims means intermediate payments. Okay, interim, virtual, and final certificate of payment. So these actually one same point. Recording measurements, assisting architect in issue of interim, virtual, and final certificate of payment. So intermediate stages of payment, virtual completion certificate के साथ में जो whatever payment is done and the final certificate. So those are to be paid according to the exact measurement of the work executed. So you need to assist, the project manager needs to assist an architect, and that is the job of a project manager, which is a stage of the management. Next is checking register of sorry checking register of steel and cement, and many other things. So whenever you are purchasing material, a stock entry is done. So you have to supervise whether how much quantity of which material are coming to you. So somebody who is designing a cement go down has to have a veranda where there will be table and chair, जहाँ पे there will be a person sitting, maybe a person employed by the project manager, who is going to keep a record of the material which is coming inside, as well as during the construction which quantity or what quantity of which material is going out for construction. A record of that has to be maintained. Now, why we particularly do it for the cement and steel is because they are costly material. Others, 1 ton of sand has been dumped at a particular place, somebody takes away 5 kgs out of it, it won't be that heavy a loss. But if somebody steals away 1 kg of steel or a 50 kg of cement, it will be a loss. So checking the register of those. And then the other thing is, the steel and cement comes at a particular grade with a particular specification, which cannot be compromised. So checking the register of those particular material has to be checked. It sometimes happens that many of you might be knowing that the syndicates peoples, you are purchasing high class cement from the go down, but the transport that the vehicle that transports those particular good at your site intermediately exchange lot of sacks with some local suppliers. So they give the costly cement to the local suppliers, and the local suppliers like loads the low quality cement on the transport vehicle, and which is sent to your site. So that should be avoided. So proper maintenance of a register, checking the register should be done. Maintaining record of all the tests of soil test, water test, different materials का अगर test कर रहे हो कि setting time of concrete and all, if those are test, so the record of that has to be maintained. Next is when the ground floors get executed, there are a lot of additional things which are not done in upper floors or lower floors. For example, say checking of several levels of the plinth, the slope of the ground floor or the slope of the plinth level, the necessary opening space in your site, the necessary clearance or the setbacks in your site, or the doors and windows location, whether those are according to the design or not. And then when the authority comes to check for the sanction drawing, sorry, not for the completion drawing, that whatever was promised during the execution that has been executed, so you should assist the authority in reading those particular drawing to them. Next is monitor notices regarding road opening, water and drainage connection, electricity lift testing. Okay, simple stage. Ensuring cleaning up or removal of materials, equipments, demolition of temporary structures. So that means once your construction is over, you should also help in removal of the debris. You should properly remove the equipments that were used during the construction. And if any temporary structures were built, you should demolish it or decommission it or dismantle it. So that is also a part of the construction process itself. And then completing occupation certificate formalities. So for the occupation certificate, whatever formalities needs to be done, you just complete with those. So now you can understand that if you are a good architect and a capable architect, you can also work as a project manager. So not only your design, but see, designing is the first 1 or 2 stage in the planning stage. But other than that, an architect has to do a lot of other jobs during the execution, before the execution, to assist the client. Okay, so that is something which acts like a bait. When a client comes to you, he expects you to submit a design, but you are supposed to charge a particular stipulated amount of money for that particular design. You cannot charge less than that. So the client will feel, अरे बहुत ज़्यादा charges कर रहे हैं, I cannot make him work. So what we sometimes do, that is a very common question which many of you will be asking ki, sir, if the Council of Architecture has given the minimum charges that we are supposed to ask, and the client feels that it is very high, why can't we negotiate? No, you can't negotiate on that aspect, that whatever architectural services you are providing. But additionally, you can give something else, which is like helping him with the management of the execution of the work. So that can come without an extra cost. That may come without an, or even if that is costly, there you do not have to follow, like supervision of execution of work need not follow the rates which are fixed by the Council of Architecture. Okay. Now coming to the third stage of project management, which is the completion or the possession stage. Here handing over possession of the building is done in this particular stage. So while doing that, you are supposed to explain to the client that in case of fire, what he needs to do, in case there is a lift, how it needs to be operated, at what time it is operational, if there is any other centralized building services or any building services, say air conditioning is there or heating equipments are there, how those are operated, if there is a water supply or any fluid supply pumps, how it has to be operated. So those has to be explained. The operation of those has to be explained. Next is ensuring permanent water connection. Yes, in the execution stage there was temporary water connection, but after the actual handover, you are supposed to ensure that permanent water connection has been provided. Overseeing building completion certificate formality. So the architect is actually talking with the contractor and trying to prepare the completion certificate in consultation with the client, so that the statutory authority gives the completion certificate. So while doing that, you can oversee, that means you can also supervise or can be a team member while preparing this completion certificate. Next is preparing memo of defective or unsatisfactory items during defect liability period. So not only after the completion of the work, but even 1 year after the completion, during the defect liability period, a project manager can assist the client in identifying defective work which are supposed to be rectified by the contractor at the contractor's cost. Next is assisting in issue of final certificate of payment. So finally, when all the payments are being made, a final receipt or invoice is prepared that on these particular dates, this much amount karke, you have a sheet, you have a table which comes printed with some letterhead and all. So the contract ends over there. The contract with the contractor and the client ends over there after receiving the final certificates of payment. Handing over as-built drawing along with copies of all important tests and approvals. So it may happen that for the approval, certain modifications were done in several stages, even during completion certificate also. But a client should and during the execution phase, lot of small modifications were done. But client के पास शुरू में क्या है? The design which was approved, which was sent for sanctioning. So at the end, whatever exactly has been built along with its specifications and several other tests मान लो कि सॉइल टेस्ट, एक मंजिल बिल्डिंग बना है, 1 story बिल्डिंग हैज बीन बिल्ट, द सॉइल टेस्ट वाज डन व्हिच अलाउड 2 more stories. So you should give the report of that soil test to the client because client has paid for the soil test. You might have helped in execution of the soil test, you might have checked the report, everything was done, but you should give those back to the client so that next time once the client goes for extension or modification or renovation or anything in the construction, he should have the base drawing or the base information available with him. Okay, so these are the sub stages of project management, which can be summarized under 3 stages: planning stage, execution stage, and possession stage. Okay. So when you will be reading these particular sections, read the sections one after the other numerically. You can repeat, you can again hear the YouTube videos which I will upload in some time. Okay, after maybe after every 1 or 2 weeks, I try to upload all the videos. So this week I won't be able to upload because I'm just starting a new chapter. But okay, once certain segment is over, I will try to upload all the lectures and all. Definitely within 20 days of its actual happening. So within 2 to 3 weeks, I will upload it. Listen to those. These examples, the cases, the situations will help you in remembering these particular points. Okay, this may look like lot of points, lot of English points. इसको पढ़ के क्या करेंगे? But you know, once we discuss it one point after the other point, there is a link through this point. Those has to be done one after the other. Now, exam में मतलब if you say in the planning stage what are to be done, if you write all the 6 stages in a jumbled fashion also, it is not a problem for me. But once you are working as a project manager, you should know that कि कौन से stage के बाद में कौन से stage आता है, after which activity, which other activities has to be done. So that when you are working as a project manager or a pseudo project manager being an architect, you have to take into account this hierarchy of works. Okay, so that's the stages of project management. Then if you remember, we had a we have said that generally in the project management, these are the individual working stage of construction projects. But all these works, to comply with all these works, we have to have 4 broad stages of project management. Like a project can be managed in 4 broad stages. This is the one that you can see on the screen is on the basis of whether execution has started or not. It can be before execution, it can be during execution, it can be other. In a different way, from a different perspective, we can say that any project, now that may be relevant to construction, that may not be relevant to constructions also. So any project can be executed under 4 stages. First is the project formulation, where you prepare the table that how a project is getting formulated or what are your ideas about it of executing the project. Okay. The next is a project planning. Now here you will see that in the execution stage you have something like signing contract, letter of intent, and then preparation of activity charts. So in an activity chart, what is the utility of the activity chart? You need to know that which are the activities which are interrelated with each other. Right. So if this has to be done, those are also supposed to be done. If you have to eat food, then you have to be hungry. That's the requirement. So it is interrelated. If you are not at all hungry and you are all full, you cannot have food. You cannot eat food. So this is something which in the other elective you learn as planning. If you have learned what is defined by planning, then planning is arranging related activities. That's the simple definition of planning. So once you are an urban planner, you plan that once there will be an industry, there will be influx of population. Once there will be influx of population, first thing they will need is residential. Once they will be working over there, they will slowly bring in their family. So family ka bhi they will need schools. Once the kids grow up, they will need colleges. And if it is a family living, you will need health center. So that is broadly what we all discuss in urban planning, right? In a settlement system also we do the same things. That means the activities are all related, and that is the same thing that we discussed in the definition of project, that is a series of related activities. So in this section, all these activities, when we plot those and find the interlink or interrelation between them, that is known as the second stage of project management, which is project planning. So after project formulation, we have project planning. The third stage is scheduling. So project planning is, you just know कि कौन से काम के बाद कौन से काम करना है या किसके साथ कौन सा करना है, whether they are to be done together one after the other. But scheduling means, depending on the actual situation, which activity will be executed at which point of time. So that is scheduling. So you may feel that, okay, you have to execute one part of the work at a very faster rate. So accordingly, according to your plan, this project has to be scheduled fast, and you have to deploy, depending on the scheduling, you have to deploy more people to execute it at a faster rate. Or if it is concrete work, you have to add fast hardening cement to reduce the workability and allow the concrete to settle fast. So that changes will come from scheduling. When are you trying to schedule which activity? For example, say I say that, okay, any of you say, I ask Amartya that, Amartya, I am giving you say 19 pieces of postcard, उसमें सबका नाम लिखा हुआ है, so all your classmates are sitting in certain rows and columns in your classroom. So Amartya is supposed to distribute those postcards to to each one. So now he can decide two things. He has to plan that how he is going to distribute it. So he is scheduling it that I will distribute it in such a way that the total time taken for distribution is minimum. So that can be a schedule. Or he will say that, okay, I will distribute it to all my friends in such a way that I will meet each and every friend only once. I will not cross the same path again. That can also happen. So there are several ways of scheduling the project. So here in the screen, if you see that there are three basic levels of project scheduling. Like the scheduling can be done in three different levels. One is the broad scheduling, that means overall office schedules used by the principals to keep a track of long range or long and short term commitments. So in an office level, we schedule the project as planning or designing stage, execution stage, and post completion stage. Within the execution stage, we might employ different people for different small activities, or say in any stage we have several other works, so those are to be supervised. For example, say planning, elevation and 3D generation, rendering, client meeting, अलग अलग branches हो सकता है, but all of it comes under planning stage. So first stage of project scheduling says it is a overall schedule. That means you are able to track what are your long range works and your short range works according to the time. So accordingly, you are going to need the staff, the members, and the money for that. So that's overall scheduling. The second level of scheduling, like within that broad level or within that overall level, you can have individual project summary schedules showing phases of proposal, staff need for each job, detailed job task schedule. What was the job and who has been given the task to execute that. So that is a second tier. So maybe we are going into the project scheduling in a bit more detail level. And then the ultimate micro scale project scheduling happens in day-to-day work. That every day सुबह 3 घंटे क्या करना है, दोपहर को 3 घंटे क्या करना है, शाम को 4 घंटे क्या करना है. So in this 10 hours of work a day, what exactly is being done in every, so micro level scheduling or fine grained scheduling on daily basis, on bi-weekly, on weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, or fortnightly basis. So if we say it from number 3 to number 1, okay, I guess you will agree that not all projects can be scheduled with fine tuning, with micro level. So for that, for those we have higher scheduling, high scale schedulings, but for some activities you need this fine grained scheduling so that the total project duration does not get hampered. So matlab say project A, B, C, D has to be executed in a particular order for the total execution, total completion of the work. So A, B, C, D are the sub stages of a project. So now you do a micro analysis and schedule की अगर A को हम लोग थोड़ा ज़्यादा कर सकते, थोड़ा जल्दी कर सकते, if you can save 1 day in completing A, then B and C can start in such a way that the deadline which was promised can be preponed by 2 days. एक दिन पहले अगर ए को खत्म करते हैं तो टोटल वर्क, द कंप्लीट वर्क ए बी सी डी मिला के जो कंप्लीट होने वाले हैं, दैट कैन बी एग्जीक्यूटेड 2 days अर्ली. सो दैट इज a tremendous benefit. So sometimes fine grain scheduling helps in the overall scheduling of the project. Okay, so that's the third stage of project management, and the fourth stage is definitely project monitoring. So once see here, a typical chart has been given. Can everyone see my screen? If you cannot, please open the handout which was sent to you yesterday. There you will find this is the third page of that handout. So a preliminary project schedule is prepared where on the left hand side in individual rows, the first column in individual rows, the tasks are assigned, and on the right hand side we have the duration of it, and we also write that what is the total percentage of what is the percentage of the total fee that is to be paid for that particular task. Have a look at it, and then I will take you to some more charts. See, on the rows you have individual tasks, and vertically you have the time or the period for which you are going to execute that particular task. Right. Now let me show you one more. माउस का क्या हो जाता है? Okay, can you see a different Excel sheet which I have shared with you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For people on the mobile who are checking on mobile, it may not be that clear, but let me explain that. This is the same table which I showed you in the scan page. So on the left hand side, you have different activities, and then we have an interrelationship. So where we have a purple patch, we have a hatch, and we have a yellow color. So see, date 29/9. On 29th of September, we start, and it has a particular span. So for 14 days, for 2 weeks, you are working on that particular aspect. Okay. Now the yellow column in column S here, it shows the current date. So on 8th of December, it was made long back. So 8th of December is the current time. So purple patch means the work which has already been executed, completed. The hatch means something which was planned, and if the hatch also has a purple background, it means that what actually has happened. So you see the second task which was supposed to start on 6th of October has actually started on 13th of October. So after 7 days it has started. So yes, it is a weekly planner. So every week what is going to be executed is plotted in there. So it started little late, and because of that what has happened is yellow. That means it took 2 weeks to construct it. So you have gone beyond it. You have gone beyond the plan. So this is a kind of scheduling, and so the schedule is on the left, and the right hand side, when you are putting these bars in a bar diagram, it is helping you in monitoring. Like the schedule, if you are following at the site and you are adding the good thing and the bad thing which is getting executed at the site, now I know that which are the activities which are planned still now, and where am I currently standing. So if I say that there are certain activities which has to be completed, say activity discuss potential problem with skeleton system in row number 20, this will start only after its previous work is completed. The 19 number जब complete होगा then 20 start होगा. But देखो 19 will only start after 16 and 17, 14, 16 and 17 are executed. So 14 ends on 1st of December, 8th of December, 16 ends on 8th of December, 17th ends on 8th of December. So when these three ends, then only this job will start. So I know that if I can complete those three works earlier, I can start that particular 19th activity even earlier. So this interrelationship is understood graphically clearly. Now, say in small projects, aram se without avoiding all these things, you can have a simple bar diagram, simple horizontal bars, which you might have done in your estimation works, that you are estimating that during the execution, what all things are done after which activity, marking, excavation, like preparing the PCC foundation bed, then scaffolding for the foundation, ऐसे करके till the coping stone is placed on top of the parapet. You have all the activities. Now there is a interrelationship among all the activities. Now if it is very critical, it is very difficult, then probably you have to prepare some charts like this. Okay. This is one more chart where we have a weekly planner. So the more we go on the left, it's so there are a lot of software, and this chart is known as a Gantt chart, Gantt, Gantt chart. On the heading it is written. So in the next class we will start entering into the different procedures of project formulation. So we are meeting on Friday. On Friday we will take up project formulations, and we will say that once you are a keen architect and you want to start your own project, that means you are planning here. I said the example of that railway station, Raurkela railway station, where you see lot of old wagons standing stranded. So every one of you are coming up with a different formula or different proposal what to do with that particular work. So that is a formulation. So what are the different stages of formulation? I will share with you the document, or it is very simple. It's just a one-page document. You can take the note of that in the next class also. Okay. So let me stop recording.